A movie that just wanders around waiting for something to happen. Jamie?
Yeah.
Let's go watch Escape from New York. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. We are an 80s movie podcast in that we watch a movie from the 80s and then talk about it and tell you, the audience, if it's worth listening to. I'm one half of this podcast. My name is Doug McCambridge, and with me from the red state of Tennessee...
Oh. Look at you labeling like that.
Jamie Lorello. Well, listen, hey, I can label all I want from, I guess I'm in a swing state, right?
Are you a swinger state? You're leaving your keys in the bowl and you're deciding later?
Like Trump, Hillary, dig around. Whoever pulls the keys out.
That's who I'm going home with. That's right.
And it really is a win-win either way.
Yeah, exactly. It's an experience.
I mean, for them.
Right. Exactly.
All right. They're going to be very disappointed. All right.
Any
No, not
housekeeping?
Really. No, I think the only thing we should say is that our month of horror movies was a lot of fun. It was great. Mm-hmm. I really do want to thank everybody that submitted. A lot of people submitted, and we only were able to choose two.
There's just two.
Yeah, but it was fun, and so I don't know. I'm still considering whether we should change how it works.
As far as the polling process?
I feel bad. I feel bad that people who listen to us all the time put in and they don't. But it really is the luck of the draw.
What about doing a bar graph of some kind? What about doing the highest vote? Like really taking a poll?
Bar graph? But what do? Put every single horror movie in the 80s into this poll?
No, you pick from the highest rated. People will vote, and I'm sure we have some reoccurring, right?
Ooh, I like that. Okay.
So then you count up the ones that have the, most. So if you see something, that somebody else puts out there.
Say something.
Yes, exactly. That is our policy here. Okay?
It is. All right, but anyway, that's a year away.
Well, I like the pre-plannings, though. Sometimes you got to know ahead of time what's going to happen.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It's like seeing the future, like we do in this movie. This is sort of based in the future, even though it's an 80s movie, right?
Yeah. And they don't even, it doesn't even say like the year 2087. It's literally like
1997.
What, 17 years after this movie was shot. We know what's happening. Cassette tapes, still super important.
Yes, yes. And nobody seems to, remember when they would get kind of janked up, the cassette tapes? Do you ever remember that? And then you had to take
You had to shove a pencil in. Yeah.
They didn't encounter
There's no worries
problem.
about that, though. It's just a briefcase with a cassette in it.
And some paperwork that seemed to be irrelevant in the end.
Irrelevant. The dumbest MacGuffin in a movie is that cassette tape. Anyway, so let's move on.
Yes.
This is our presidential election movie.
Yeah.
And when I've said in the past that we loosely associate movies with current events and stuff, this is kind of what I mean.
Well, there was a president in here, and there is definitely some politics involved. I mean,
really?
Of the action sort.
Okay. Action politics. I love that idea.
That's what I'm looking for in my next.
You said last episode that you would like to see a karate movie with presidents.
Oh, yes, this is true.
I would like to see that.
Yeah.
I would like to see, even just and it doesn't have to be anything horrible. Maybe just an arm wrestling match is just at the end of one of the debates, or maybe at the beginning.
Well, but think of the karate suit and the whole, like they have
the
to bow to
karate
each other.
suit?
Yeah.
Oh.
Or the uniform.
I almost called it a kimono, but that's not right either.
No, that's different. Yeah. I think it's all could be handled very presidentially. I wouldn't turn a blind eye to an arm wrestle, but at the same time, I think a full-on karate.
All right.
Battle of
So
Presidents.
more of a Karate Kid, not an over-the-top sort of thing.
Yeah.
And maybe they're not fighting. Maybe they're just showing their moves.
Sort of dancing about each other?
Well, no, not even each other. They just get like a minute and a half to do spin kicks and flips.
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff
like break
that.
wood and stuff like that and see.
To break wood, yes.
Okay.
Concrete blocks. I would love to see Hillary Clinton try and break a concrete block with her forehead.
And depending like how well they did, that would help inform my full decision.
Because if it comes down to it, if Harrison Ford in Air Force One taught us anything, the president has to be able to kick some ass.
Yes.
But we're not talking about Air Force One.
No, we're not.
Or
and we're not talking about Karate Kid either.
No. We're talking about the 1981 John Carpenter movie, Escape from New York, with Kurt Russell,
Alongside
Lee Van Cleef.
Yes.
Ernest Borgnine is in this, Donald Pleasance, Isaac Hayes.
Yes.
And Adrienne Barbeau.
Now that's John Carpenter's wife?
At the time.
Okay.
At the time, yes.
Just
like, and not to jump ahead, because we have so much to talk about, but the woman who gets dragged through the floor in the diner.
Oh, yeah. That
was Kurt Russell's wife at the time.
Oh, really? So they kept it in the family. That's always nice. Oh, and I did a bit of research. I don't always do the research, but did you know that it was Jamie Lee Curtis who does the voiceover in the beginning when we sort of learn about everything? And
what?
Yes.
No.
Yes, and she's also the voice of the computer.
Was there a computer talking in this movie? I had no idea.
To be honest,
I had no idea there was a computer talking in this movie. When was that?
I think it's when he's in the little plane that he rides, or the glider.
Oh, Jesus Christ. When he's in that glider,
Maybe.
They have to show us these Commodore 64 type graphics.
Which were pretty big, though. Which were pretty big, I guess, for then. It looks like a toy airplane before he gets in it. I was like, what is that?
I gotta tell you, I have a feeling it was a model.
Well,
I don't think it's a real plane. All right.
Well,
so
a glider in
this movie, directed by John Carpenter, who I sometimes get John Carpenter and Wes Craven confused.
Well, I guess
one's Halloween, one's
the
Friday the
Freddy's,
13th.
Yeah.
And in trying to find out recommendations, John Carpenter's done some really bad movies.
Yeah.
Like, he did the original Halloween, which is amazing.
Sure.
And a year after this, he teamed up again with Kurt Russell
and
Wilford Brimley to do The Thing, which is an amazing movie.
Sure.
It's so fantastic. Other than that, he's got a lot of misses on his resume.
But a certain cult following.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think that's, as a director, if you can make at least one great movie.
Yeah, then you kind of hook some people in,
Yeah.
And he tends to use the same kind of cast a lot, or so he's just got this kind of
And he scores a lot of his films too, not this one.
Oh no. Was it Isaac that scored this one? I wouldn't think so. It was not funky enough.
I assume it was a synthesizer and a drum machine alone in a room. Just two robots.
Maybe it was Jamie Lee Curtis. Maybe it was her. I don't know.
I can only assume he asked Jamie Lee Curtis to be in this, and she went, I don't think so. I mean, I'll do a voiceover if you want. Maybe bleep blurp my way into a computer.
Blurp. All right. So I thought to start us from the top, I thought that these credits were insanely long. Did you feel that way?
Oh my God. I wrote that because this reminds me of when you watch old movies from like the 40s, how they front load all their credits.
Yeah. That's what I was like, wait, did this start at the end? But no.
And I love those movies because at the end of the movie, it literally just says the end.
Yeah.
The movie ends, which I was waiting for that here, but no, there's a ton more credits at the end.
Yeah, no.
But you're right. It is very, very long.
And then we're treated to, I guess it's Jamie Lee Curtis's voiceover to kind of update us on what's happening, right?
I love how it says on screen, it says 1997 now, meaning what does that
Well, because they referenced that in 1988, the year. I don't know. That's where he's going to, right? Is 1990?
But why do they have to say now?
Now.
Like, can't you just say 1997?
And you just know that it's now? Well, yeah, if that's what you're showing me, then I'm...
That's the year that we're seeing. You don't need to inform us
right.
that, oh, we're not just putting numbers on screen. That's the year.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it'd be like if they introduce the characters and Kurt Russell comes out and it says Hero, where his name was Hero and not Snake or something. You'd be like, okay. So, but
Snake, now.
So we learned that there's been a 400% crime increase. These are like Trump numbers, 400% crime increase.
This is so Trump's America. I love the idea.
Manhattan, downtown Manhattan or New York City has become a maximum security prison, right?
Sure, because why not?
Because that's where we're going to keep all these lunatics is out on this island.
But Manhattan's not a bad idea because it's in the middle of the water.
Right.
We see people trying to escape, and that doesn't work out for
well,
them.
And they're not supposed to, yeah. Once you're in, you can't come out. So.
You're not supposed to escape prison.
Well, you're not. It's very, we watched somebody try to by boat, right? On a raft.
Yeah.
And it's the boat gets blown up. There's a heavy duty patrol on the island, right?
Well, it's not even on the island. It seems like Ellis Island is sort of like where the prison guards are. Mm-hmm. Like Ellis Island, right under the Statue of Liberty, seems to be where the base is. Because I don't think there are guards in Manhattan. That's just...
Oh, you're right, because that's kind of overrun. You're right. But they can swoop in, and they are patrolling via the air and the sea,
in helicopters, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's always dark and lots of little fires, lots of loitering happening all over.
There's no daylight in 1997 either.
It's gone. The sun's gone.
Trump built a giant machine to blot out the sun.
It was tanning all of us a little too much, so he couldn't handle it. Oh, this is so, besides the escape that almost happens and we see the security around the prison, there's a plane, right? This is kind of telling when the plane David, it's hijacked.
Wait, excuse me? Plane David?
Well, that's what they call it.
Is that what it's called? It's not called Air Force One?
The code they call in for the mysterious plane. At first it's a mysterious plane, right? This is, in 1997, it's just David. It's not Air Force One.
What? President David, who took office in the late 80s, was so great. They just named the plane after him. And I don't know if David was his first name or last name. Who knows?
But that's just what they call it. David's coming in. Well, they don't.
I would like that if Jamie Lee Curtis explained to us at the beginning.
In the early 80s, America had a president of great valor and delight. It was President David.
I would like to think that David Copperfield became president.
And using his magic
always
tricks.
doing these magic tricks. Paying way more attention to that than the country where crime was spiraling out of control.
But still, it was magical. A magical presidency.
He's like, I'm going to make the Washington Monument disappear. Shouldn't you be addressing the crime rates across the nation?
No. Foreign policy, I'm going to submerge myself underwater for 12 minutes in chains. I don't know. Don't magicians do that?
Sure.
Because then they can bust out. I don't know.
I would love to see that.
Wow, we've taken a bit of a detour.
An idea for presidential debates.
Karate?
Who can do the best card tricks?
No, well, off subject, we got way. The crash, there's a crash that happens and they don't know first on their little monitors what plane it is. And then we realize what it is. The Soldiers of the National Liberation? Is that who they are?
Whatever.
They're these,
who the fuck cares?
They're these crazy rebels that come to fight the imperialists, right? And they take over the plane.
Yeah, it's a regular Star Wars thing.
They crash the plane into, this is sort of a weird, like they crash it into a building, not the trade, was it the World Trade Center? No, he's supposed to go on top of the World Trade Center when he lands his thing.
There's a lot of World Trade Center talk in this, and it made me feel very uncomfortable.
It made you uncomfortable, did it? In 1997, it wouldn't have. And in 1980, when it was made, you wouldn't have.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
You can continue on. Okay. Nothing happens in this goddamn movie.
Oh, jeez. Well, yeah, the president. Who is the president? What actor is that? Because I was like, we could have done a little better. I felt.
You shouldn't have Donald Pleasance, a British actor, as your president. Now, he's Dr. Loomis in the Halloween movies. He was the guy who knew that Michael Myers was crazy.
So I could see
and he was always trying to convince everybody that he's going to murder teenagers or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not very good. Like I don't know, he's kind of a little old man, so I guess he could be a president.
I guess. I mean, yeah. I'll accept him as president. He wasn't my favorite. I'll just say that. But he does, he
unlike Donald Trump, you accept the results. And fine, okay, Donald Pleasance is our president.
So this was fun when he has to go into the pod. The plane's the plane's been hijacked. We don't know yet that she's gonna crash it, but this rebel chick that took over the plane is gonna crash it and kill them all, I guess. But there's a pod. There's a crazy, like, orange pill looking pod, right? That the president gets stuffed into, and he gets handcuffed to a briefcase. Right. And
there are very few futuristic things.
The pod is pretty
The pod seemed extremely futuristic.
Yeah.
And very out of place in the rest of this movie.
Yes, I agree. So this is their way of saving the president, and I guess what's more important even than the president is the briefcase that's handcuffed to him, right? I mean, sure, he's the president. You don't want the president to die. And he's on his way to
Hartford, Connecticut, which doesn't make any sense. There's a world summit, like the most important summit in the world, happening in Hartford,
at a Hampton Inn. At a Hampton Inn. That is great.
Because I can only assume that when they decided to make Manhattan this prison, they were like, "Oh, we have to have the president crash in Manhattan, but he's in D.C.
What's he on his way to?
Possibly be going
Connecticut,
Hartford." Which, if you draw a straight line, you don't need to go over Manhattan. But that aside, why would you go to Hartford?
Because it's an easy meetup place. Hey, listen, this is like World War III. We don't really know what's happened to the rest of the United States.
Yeah, that would be nice to know. At some point, because I don't know what is happening. I didn't even really know there was a country left. I didn't know.
You were like, is it just Manhattan? Is it just the...
We're given no idea of what the rest of the world,
if they're watching this on the news or where, other than the prisoners and the security, team.
Well, I mean, this is all hush-hush. The idea is... the president crashed. We can't let anybody know this. So that's why they have to get Snake to go in and rescue him.
Yep.
Right. We are revealing more backstory to this movie than the movie does.
Oh, yeah.
The movie doesn't even tell you this stuff.
Well, let me ask you, have you watched this before?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah. Normally we start with that.
Yeah.
The year 2001.
Oh.
I was in an apartment, and it was probably midnight on a Saturday.
Okay.
And I went, hey, I've always heard of this movie. I'm going to watch it. I got 10 minutes in and was out like a light.
Oh!
That was the last time I tried.
Action?
That was the last time I tried to watch this. So, no, I knew of it.
To be fair, you probably fell asleep shortly after the very long credits. I'm sure you dozed.
Nope, I know exactly when I fell asleep.
Oh, do you?
He got in that glider, and I was out because I don't remember anything in this movie.
You were like, the adventure thereforth, I do not need to know.
Nope.
So you did get to meet, is it the chief, right? The commissioner of the city, Bob?
All right, so there's two guys.
Yeah.
There's Hawk, who's the balding guy.
Uh-huh.
His name is not Bob. It's Hawk.
Hawk.
And the other guy, I didn't even write the other guy's name down. No, I didn't write it down, so I can't think of who he is. But he's a pretty big character actor, and Hawk is played by Lee Van Cleef, who's a big time actor as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so these guys are in charge or tracking the president, and they're like, "Oh no, he's down. He's lost in Manhattan.
Right.
How are we going to get him?" And it makes no sense to bring.
Well, it's Hawk that decides to bring him, right? To bring him
Right.
on.
Which, okay, here's my thing. Here's my biggest problem with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting for Hawk to be revealed as a bad guy.
Mm.
I thought this was all going to be...
Like his ploy? Like he was on the...
Yep.
Okay.
And spoiler alert, that never happened.
Yeah, no.
I
no.
kept waiting.
And he doesn't even they threaten each other, but does he ever kill Hawk at the end, does he?
No, he doesn't.
No, that's right. He's just like, he kind of has I'm too tired to do anything to you.
Hey, are you going to kill me now? And he kind of just walks away.
Yeah, I think his excuse is he's too tired to. Because it was a long day. It was, how many hours did he really have? 20, 22? It was on that watch.
He's tired from the moment he walks into his office.
Well,
he looks sleepy.
True. Where has he been now? He's a war hero that's turned criminal. Is he in the jail, like on the island in jail?
Why do they have jails if you could just throw everybody in Manhattan? That's what I don't understand. It seems to me like he is on his way to Manhattan because when they strike the deal for him to go in and rescue the president, at one point he says something like, "Well, I'm headed there anyway." So he must be being transported or waiting to go to Manhattan to this prison.
Okay.
But
is that the only life
there
there is, I guess? Like you said, like we don't know the rest of the world. If it's just you're either in this
that the
prison
only
or you're
life there
dead.
is in Kurt Russell's eyes.
That's all I need
know.
in this world.
Again, I have no idea. I think they say he robbed the U.S. Treasury or something.
Well, he turned.
That is not a one-man job.
He was a war hero who then turned criminal.
Right.
And
right. So he has the skills to get in quietly.
Well, he's also got the lycra to do that. Such tight
His
clothing.
outfit is ridiculous.
I took a note of it because I didn't notice it for a minute. So, I do like the way so his name, did we say his name yet? Snake? We did say his name is Snake.
Snake Plissken. With two S's, too,
like
just in case you don't get the snake reference.
And he has the whole time, he's got this sort of gravelly but monotone tough guy. Right? Call me Snake.
Yeah. I'm Snake. I don't know. Why am I? The whole time I'm like, what are you doing? This can't be your voice.
Well, it is.
This is not a real voice.
When you've been through what he's been through in the tough times.
We don't know what he's been through. God damn it, I want to know where his eye is. I want to know what happened. Why is he wearing an eye patch?
Yeah.
Why? None of this is explained. What did he do in the military? How did he rob a U.S. Treasury?
Well,
and how was he caught? That's the movie I want to see. A prequel. Kurt Russell has to have a son, right? Somewhere that could play him. Because I'd like to see a prequel of this.
Little Kevin Russell. Sure.
Yep.
Oh, I've got the lineup. if we're going to do a remake or a prequel.
Oh.
But I'll get to that in my recommendation. So hold on tight.
Please
okay.
do. I cannot wait.
Okay. So, we are debriefed.
This movie hasn't even started. Let's
come on. We're walking through it. You know, we got to know where we're headed before all the action starts, right? We got to know.
The action.
So, yeah, he's Snake is brought in by Hawk to do this mission. Now, it's a time-sensitive mission.
Sure.
Right? He's got 24 that are quickly reduced to 22, which I think by the time he goes in is like down to 16. I don't know how fast it goes. But
I don't know how math works.
Yeah.
And I don't know how daylight
I don't know how
works,
quickly
he has
the
an
time.
entire day and there's no sun.
And I think they do it for daylight savings or something. They do it where like time then skips ahead again and you're like, wait a minute. They give him this watch to wear, this countdown kind of watch, that is going to kind of let him know how much time he's got left because he's only got so much time.
Oh, like a sleep tiny like Apple Watch.
No, it's huge.
It's
No,
gigantic.
it's like Flava Flav's clock. Well, one of the reasons is because the paperwork and the president have to come back in time for this summit meeting that's happening, so that's time sensitive. But
I wish they went back in time. That would make this movie so much better.
I know you would understand a lot more. Well, what were the things that they put in the back of his neck? They put like some kind of cyanide, slow moving.
Right, yeah, they injected slow dissolving cyanide capsules
Into his
the arteries. It's so silly because Hawk is like, you must have had the idea, or I'll bet you had the idea to take that plane and fly to Canada, or whatever the hell he says to him.
Right.
But yeah, if he gets the president and comes back, they'll remove the cyanide capsules from in his neck, so he won't die.
Right. But if he doesn't, in that amount of time, he's dust.
He will die.
He is dust. So
I was waiting at the end when he got back for Hawk to be like, there aren't really cyanide capsules in you, you idiot.
Just a neck piercing. Now you're all hip and whatever. Yeah, it's life or death for Snake. This.
It really is.
It becomes not just about do you care for your country anymore, which in the end, I guess we find out.
What has the country done for him? Nothing. It sent him to war to fight some war, a war we don't know about. It could have been World War III.
I think that's what we're meant to believe.
Okay.
Or I
believe
believe
he tried to rob his country, but now he gets to redeem himself by saving the president.
Saving the president.
So he takes a glider, and we see bad computer graphics.
Terrible ones.
Really, and they are playing. They are showing this off like this is a big deal.
Well, sure.
I don't know how many times we see that screen of the Manhattan city streets.
Oh yeah,
and it's just green lines. It's like an AutoCAD drawing.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. But he has to land on the World Trade Center.
Right.
Then they make such a big deal. They're like, you got to land on the World Trade Center.
Right.
There's a elevator. It'll take you down to the 50th floor. Then you have to walk the whole way. Do we see any of this? No, because next time we see him, he's on the street and he's exhausted.
Well, it was a long 50. You know how big?
So sleepy.
Well, and that's the weird thing. Well, I guess I get it. He had to land high up so they don't see him or whatever. But yeah, it's worth the workout. That's what I mean. Maybe it does take 22 hours to do this whole job because it takes like 4 just to get out of the building that his plane had to land on. Or his glide.
I guess. Yeah, that baby plane that he gets in is adorable. Like it is. I expected like his knees to be up on his face. It looks so tiny.
He's in a big wheels. This is when he's walking around the city now after he's down and exhausted. This is when I did notice his outfit.
Oh
so
my
at
God!
First, I
Please
thought
take us through this.
I thought it was tight jeans at first. Then I was like, oh no, that is spandex with a snake. Is it like a snake print spandex?
No. I believe that it's like blue camouflage, like a light blue, dark blue
really
camouflage.
Tight. It's really tight.
It's very tight. And his boots are like these baseball catchers' shin protectors.
Oh, he's going into it.
And then he goes sleeveless, too.
Yeah, and a little bit of midriff showing, right? A little midriff bearing. Yeah.
You can't... I mean, Kurt Russell is poured into this outfit, let's say.
That is a good way to put it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he does look dashing. Who doesn't love it?
In an eye patch.
And the eye patch.
A guy who probably has no depth perception at all gets put in. He should be.
Let's put him in the dark in the city and just have him run after the president.
It really is so dark in this movie.
It is.
Now, there is one thing that I will say about this movie, and to this movie's credit, because I found a nice HD like online.
Okay.
And the movie looks good.
It's a good looking movie.
These sets look really good and the lighting is, but I feel like sometimes they're so in love with the way the movie looks.
They lost some of the
characters just wander around
the
streets and nothing happens for long stretches.
Yeah, my attention kept sort of just drifting because this would happen. You're right. Like there was,
and it's not a long movie. It's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, yeah. There was, and I was like, wait, what is happening now? I mean, and I guess when he's walking around, you're just being shown things. He's getting to places like so. when he's first kind of there, they're supposedly tracking the president's pulse, right? On some sort of device.
They have a tracker, which, again, is just as large as what he's wearing. Yeah. And I love how the two guys who are in charge are like, he's in this building because his tracker says it. I'm like, why? If you saw this on the president's
wouldn't
wrist,
you take
would
that?
You just leave it there?
Uh-huh.
And the bad guys are a little smarter than that, and they don't leave it on the president. No. They give it to a homeless derelict.
Who's getting beat up when Snake finds him? That was weird.
Just getting his head beaten by this guy. And then turns around and says, I'm the president.
Yeah.
And what?
Now Snake's like kind of pissed because he thought this mission was in the bag. He was like, all right, I'm right here. I got the president. And now he's not even like tracking the right dude.
Right.
He's just put out to be here to begin with. He's not excited about this mission. He just kind of wants to get her done.
Now, I think it is important to say that where he finds this homeless man is in an old abandoned theater where guys in dresses are putting on a little show.
Oh, yes. And one guy in particular, the cabbie, is watching with great joy the show.
Ernest Borgnine thinks this is the greatest thing ever. He is bebopping around and laughing and singing along.
Yeah, this is his like Saturday night out, I guess. He's pleased as punch to be and then he spots Snake, who
everybody knows Snake, which is crazy.
He's a pretty famous kind of dude. People know of him. They can't believe the great Snake is still around. Okay, wait. Once he leaves the theater, is he back out in the streets? Is this when we, all of a sudden, he's like looking out at the streets and some guy comes, you think it's like the start of some kind of like thriller musical or something, because some guy comes and is just like tapping the potholes.
I must have thought of Thriller 85 times during this scene, because you're right. A guy taps on sewer grates for some reason.
Well, to wake up the people who live underneath the...
Right, like the mole people wake up, I guess, and emerge from under the streets, and Snake's just running around like a crazy person. Like, he doesn't know what's going on.
No.
I don't know what's going on.
No.
Nobody ever explains what's happening.
And are these the prisoners, or are these really, really unsavory characters that just sort of exist beneath?
I have
Are
no
they
idea.
Zombies? Like, there's the one guy that's like kind of a puck, and he's sort of pale, and he looks dead, but he's like the feisty. I think he's one of...
Are you saying Puck from...
The Real World?
The Real World. Is that what you're talking about?
I also mean the little sprite fairy from... Which you could reference Real World characters if you want to. They're sort of similar.
You're talking about the crazy guy with like the hair that sticks straight up.
Yes.
And he's like...
The cackles, he's just like random.
He's like the Duke's right-hand man.
Kind of, I guess, more like his like gesture.
Oh, okay. All right.
Gesture.
His jester, not his gesture. Right. Yeah, okay. So yeah, all these crazies emerge from the streets and start just running down the street like lunatics.
Yeah. It's kind of just becomes, and I guess it's just their hour. Like you said, it's their time to wake up and be. So while he's hiding, Snake, he runs into a woman who recognizes him as
everybody
the great
knows
Snake.
I love him.
And she's the one that then gets, well, that's who you said was his wife, right?
Yeah, or his husband.
Or his husband. She gets pulled through the floor, correct? The zombies in the
floor.
One
of the mole people emerges, just busts up in the middle of this cafe or like a diner. I think they're
in a diner, yeah, like an old abandoned diner.
And just pulls her under. This goes nowhere. There's no reason to have this scene in the movie.
I guess it's just to let you know what a danger zone they're in. Like how bad it really is. I don't know. But it's, because it's not like he fights off anybody, so we get to see some of his like fighting skills, and we're like, oh yeah, he's really ready, Snake, for battle. We just know
no fighting skills.
No, he's hiding. He's like hiding from. He's totally freaked out. He's kind of a little wussy right now.
He even yells at her for lighting a cigarette.
He's like, don't light it. Yeah,
stay in the shadows.
Yep. He gets saved though by his friend the cabbie, who was enjoying the entertainment earlier.
And he's got big band music in his cab. He's throwing Molotov cocktails out the window and just humming along. And and just talking to him like he's not murdering people.
Right, exactly.
He does give Snake information.
About what's going on, because Snake's clueless like the rest of us.
Yes, somebody named the Duke, who seems to be in charge of this Manhattan prison, I guess.
Or at least the
He's the
people
biggest,
in it. Right.
Right, he's the biggest, the baddest, the toughest. He must have the president.
Yeah, well, he knows where the president is, or he has,
Right.
He's the one, If you want to find the president, you got to talk to the Duke.
But why do they then go to the library?
Why do they go to the library? Because you can't get to the Duke. You got to get to the brain.
The brain.
And the
so
brain.
They have to go see Brain before, and Brain will take them to the Duke?
Brain and Penny will take them to the Duke. No, I don't know if it's Penny. I don't know.
Wait, is it Penny?
No, I was just thinking the Brain and Penny from Inspector Gadget.
Oh.
Sorry.
You go see Brain, he's always saving Inspector Gadget's ass because Inspector Gadget is incompetent. If he did not have that dog, who appears to be very human, or his niece, he'd probably be dead, even with all those gadgets. In closing, I'm not sure about this movie. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
So the Brain knows Snake too, of course. They used to be
let's
cohorts?
just say that the Brain is the amazing Harry Dean Stanton. He's so charming and so crazy and so goofy in everything he does, and he's the same way in this. That, like, if it was just a movie with Harry Dean Stanton and Ernest Borgnine running around in a cab, like yelling and screaming at each other, I would watch that.
That you would
I'd watch
sign
an
up
hour
for.
and a half.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But this.
Well,
let's just
I don't
want
to spoil my views because in the end I could say greatest thing I've ever seen.
You're right. Let's just inch our way there, shall we?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, anyway, so these two are longtime foes, friends. They were friends, and I think at one point Snake was abandoned by
that's
Brain.
why I'm wondering if Harry Dean Stanton was in on the robbery and he left him. But if he left him to get arrested, why the hell is Harry Dean Stanton in the Manhattan prison?
Well, maybe are we meant to think that the Snake was in a higher security? I don't know. None of this information is given to us as the audience. No, although we're told a lot, we're not told enough.
Oh, but go ahead. You said you read something somewhere.
Oh,
first of all, the amount of research you put into this movie is impressive.
Sort of surprising, right? I had an extra 15 before we started.
I was going to say, instead of watching the movie, you were like, let's see what I can find out.
I hit some traffic on the way into work. Now, I never look at my phone when driving.
No, don't do that.
No, I did read somewhere that there was, I don't know that he shot it, maybe he wrote it, maybe he did shoot it. There was an opening scene that was a bank robbery that was supposed to be sort of the opener for the film, and I don't know why, but they didn't end up using it. I do think that would have pieced certain things together. I think overall for you, if I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I feel like it would have helped you feel a little better about this movie.
I would have enjoyed that, you know, had he gone to the library and then Harry Dean Stanton turns around and we're like, "This is the guy."
There's the one, right? That they looked at each other and but that doesn't happen. So we just know that they have some shady past together, and they're reluctant to work together, and we're not even sure that the Brain is really ever on Snake's side, right?
Well, yeah, Snake threatens him. He's gonna kill him. Cabby the whole time is just standing there, just smiling like a lunatic. He is a madman. Yeah. He has lost his mind at some point. And finally, I guess he convinces Brain to take him to the Duke. There's a woman there.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention. A busty woman.
I was going to say Chesty McCleavage or whatever you want to call her. And I don't know. I guess she's Harry Dean Stanton's girlfriend or wife or partner.
They made it sound like the Duke assigned her to him. Like they make some comment. So you wonder, I mean, just by her dress and whatever, if maybe she is like I don't know, the Duke reminds me of a pimp. Maybe she was a whore, and that's how
Okay.
she was sort of assigned to make the Brain happy.
I think the other thing that was a bit depressing about this movie is after 2 horror movies where we had these strong female protagonists,
she was pretty terrible.
there were 2 women in this movie, and one got pulled into the underworld by a monster man. And then you have this woman who is barely wearing any clothes.
Yeah, she was sort of, and she kind of has some...
She's kind of tough. And,
I was going to say she kind of has some toughness about her, but she even dies right after... Whoa, sorry, give it too much away.
Her death is pretty fantastic.
Well,
though.
But it was...
I sort of...
And she's just like, laying there. Yeah.
She gets walloped by that car.
She is so bloody.
How is that?
We see all of her blood. So much of her blood. It's like a mall robot came and just exploded her head.
All of your blood. There's all of your blood. There it is. This was inside of you a minute ago.
And now it's here for us to gander at.
It's all over these cars. That's gross. All right, let's go ahead. You can talk about the Duke.
The Duke's arrival. The Duke arrives in
a station wagon?
But a station wagon decked out with chandeliers on the outside of the car.
On the hood of the car.
Funky music jamming out. And with an entourage, basically. He's the
Duke. He has to have his protection. The Duke is Isaac Hayes, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Great Isaac Hayes. I mean, when isn't Isaac Hayes? Pretty groovy.
Yeah, they don't give him enough to do in this movie.
I agree.
It's... A lot of this is just wasted time. Like, Isaac Hayes is barely... Anytime you see him, he's far away. He's like, far away. The camera's never close to him, and I don't understand why.
No.
But, yeah, I wish there was more Isaac Hayes in this.
You're wishing for a bank scene and some more Isaac Hayes. Put it on the list.
There's a lot I wanted here.
Did you want any more percussion music or soundtrack performed on a Casio keyboard? Because you get a lot of that.
No, I got enough of that. That was
okay.
That was plenty.
The snake somehow hijacks the station wagon, the Duke station wagon, right? They all get in it, and they drive through the streets. And
they drive into like a bad part of town or
whatever? Where people literally just jump in front of the car, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're throwing shit all over it, jumping in front of the car, and then even, like, at one point, because the Brain's in the back seat, and somebody, like, grabs his shoulder, like, or something, like, his clothes through the window, and he's like, whatever his girlfriend's name is, Penny, and she, like, I don't know what she does, like, it's just a weird, like, they're, like, going through a car wash of zombies, I don't know what it...
And it's not even a car chase because they're barely moving.
No, it's more like a car. No, they're rolling through people. No, it's more like a car catastrophe, I guess. Well, until he then does crash into another car at the end.
Yeah, right, he turns around. He busts through a wall, like a wall of cars. That have been
that seems to be like
And he backs through it, and then they're free to drive to the train station.
Yeah,
no, they just drive to a train.
Yeah, I think it's just a train. That's where the president...
Because somehow they find out that that's where the president is.
Well, did the Brain really know the whole time?
I don't know what the Brain knows and what he doesn't. Except Bradley Cooper in Limitless.
Oh!
Where he uses, like, all of his brain, and then he licks some dude's blood off the floor at the end. It's very weird and a stupid movie. But yeah, the Brain seems to be playing both sides.
Yeah.
It's like he's with the Duke when he needs to be. He'll help Snake when he needs to be. But I think also his main goal is to get he and his girlfriend out of there. Manhattan.
Yeah, they want to escape.
However, because he has a map, because the only bridge out of town is rigged with explosives.
Yeah.
And he has a map from somewhere
that he made,
of where these that he made somehow of where these charges are. why he's never used this until now, I don't understand. But he's never used it until now.
But he does know Duke is privy to it. The president is indeed in this train, right? Train.
Right. Yeah.
He's been...
And to oh my God. There's a few quote-unquote action scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
This is where Snake throws a knife through a guy's head.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's just a bad cut scene to him
Yeah.
throwing a knife, and suddenly the guy's like, oh, and it's just in
sticking
his head.
out of his head, yeah.
Uh-huh. It's a bad death scene, too, because he kind of just, like, stares at the camera like, should I fall
Yeah,
over
yeah, yeah.
now? Is this my...
Is this
He just stands
on
there.
my
The camera
dad?
just
Yeah.
hangs on this guy.
Yeah.
But he does save the president, but then is immediately captured.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. You're kind of like rooting for him. You're like, you got him. There he is.
He's captured. He wakes up in a room, and this is the only time I really took notice of what people are wearing. He's surrounded by thugs, and they're wearing, like, garbage can lids as sort of part of their outfit.
Like a shield.
There's a guy at one point who's wearing a vest, and it's all these teeny tiny bits of fabric just all sewn together. All
Like
it looks like
patchwork?
a horrible quilt
Oh, yeah,
that he's
yeah.
wearing that there's no arms, there's no sleeves. I don't even know why he's wearing it. The set design is great in this movie. The
Costume.
costuming is terrible.
Well, maybe it's because it's 1997. Really? Were the fashions good then or now?
I don't know, because this is a parallel universe where
Oh, true. Duke is also tormenting the president as well.
Yeah. Okay, here's another problem I have with this movie.
All right.
We hear everybody talk about how badass the Duke is and how he's the worst. He's terrible. We never see any of this.
There's really no badassery.
He kind of shoots around the president. He shoots the briefcase at one point.
Uh-huh.
It's not like he's hacking limbs
No,
off of
the president already
or-
lost a finger, too. Earlier
Did
in the
he really?
movie.
Or was that somebody else's finger?
No, I think it was his, because later on I think you see that he's got like not a cast, but...
I never saw. I kept looking at his hands, hoping that there was no finger. I never noticed
I
it.
think at the end when
So,
they save him,
I
he's
thought
like...
maybe they cut a finger off of that homeless guy that they put the bracelet on, and
Oh.
like just put a
And they
ring
were
on
like,
it. I
here,
don't
this
know.
is the president. No, I feel like because the president gets really angry when he finally is sort of released again. He's got like an angry look on him, like, yeah, thanks. Like, I'm so pissed about all this torture I've had to go, you know.
He is
Yeah.
very angry at the end of this movie. Like the Duke, like we need a scene where he like shoots one of his own men out of anger or
Yeah.
something.
Well,
But it's just kind of Isaac Hayes being cool as anything.
but I think
Like,
that's we're meant
all
to
it
also
is.
think that he somehow brainwashed the people. It's more like, because later on when there's the fight with like the wrestler, like the UFC fight that they
Oh.
do,
God, yes.
like the way he can just silence the people and the way the people are so excited for the Duke, you get a feeling that it's not even like this crazy, although I would have liked to see more of that aggressive sort of power, but you get the feeling like somehow...
I would have liked to see these street people uprise at the
Oh,
end.
yeah.
And like Snake's like about to be killed by the Duke, and then all these people come out of manholes and they're like, you can't hold us down anymore. And just and then that's how he's able to escape. I would have loved that.
Sort of like at that part in Babes in Toyland when those army guys come and take over and they beat the Sinsky-Watsky guy. I
Sorry,
made that
tried
comparison.
I tried to forget.
I
tried to
know.
forget that
I
movie.
made that comparison, though. I'm just going to let you know.
So Snake, oh my God, this is when Snake goes out for his wrestling match.
Oh,
Holy, Jamie,
yeah.
we finally see him without a shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Are
Are you not impressed?
Is this a snake tattoo that he
Oh,
has?
yeah. It's so big.
Or did they,
It's
is it
kind
a
of-
joke that they drew it on with a marker?
It's kind of very terrible.
It looks
And it's so
terrible.
awkward because it's a snake, like a snake, very poorly drawn, weaving its way up from his like belly button, from his like
Oh,
pant.
it's
Yeah.
into his
I'm
pants.
sure it is. I'm sure the
Oh,
snake
yeah.
is in his pants.
It's like, hey, okay, so what do you want? Is this a tattoo parlor? Oh, yeah, it's a tattoo parlor. What do you want? I want a picture of a snake. Oh, Okay. What kind of snake? I don't give a shit. Doesn't matter what kind of snake. My name's Snake, and I want people to know I'm Snake. Okay, where do you want this? I want it to start on my dick. What? Wait, what? I don't... Well, wait, where's the head? I don't know, my belly or something. It doesn't matter. I can only imagine this is a conversation that took place where he's like, I want people to know that my name's Snake, and it's just... it means my genitalia. I just want people to know. Well, I think everybody will figure it out. You don't need me to actually put it on your penis. No, I want people to know. I want it to just start.
Oh, man.
I can only imagine that is what happened, because who gets a tattoo like that? Your name is Snake, you need a tattoo on your stomach that disappears into your pants?
Well, for this time, for when you've got to get in the ring, you want people to see. Or it's a fun party trick. I don't know.
At first, I kind of looked and I was like, is this like a joke? Like the guys who captured him
maybe drew it on there?
Like,
yeah, Sharpied it on?
Yeah, right.
No. Well, if so, they don't reference it.
No, I think it's a legit terrible tattoo.
Maybe you just only get that ink when you're in the city, when you're in this jail cell. Maybe that's where he got it.
I don't know. Yeah, probably when he was drunk in the military.
There you go. It was
something.
just a silly...
Yeah.
By the way, that was amazing. Amazing
Thanks.
Snake imitation. That was really good.
Thanks. I might just do the rest of the podcast like this.
I feel like you'll need a lozenge though afterward.
No, I don't. I'm not talking all that loudly. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. It's actually easier to talk like this.
That's fantastic. I just barked. I'm barking with excitement.
Oh my god. Shit. I thought my snake impression was great. Your dog impression is amazing.
Oh.
So they do. They put him in the ring. They have a wrestling ring for some reason.
It's ready for these kinds of events,
they put him
I
in
guess.
with a giant monster of a man.
Yeah, because this guy is
350
huge.
pounds, yeah.
He's a huge, just giant. I wrote down giant bearded giant man. That's a double giant.
He looks like a Viking or something, like a bald Viking, because he's wearing like fur, isn't he?
I think it's just his furry face. Like he is furry.
Oh, I thought he was wearing like furry, like
he might be
wrestling shorts or something.
He might
I don't
be.
know. All right,
furry wrestling shorts. Maybe he was wearing a vest of fur, but I think it was just that he was hairy.
Yeah, and we do have to say that this is taking place among a crowd of, I guess, the Duke's men.
Yeah.
And the Duke is up in the mezzanine or whatever, looking down on all of this.
Yes, just watching it. And expecting, of course, that actually, I think before the fight starts, he says how he wants him to have Snake's head.
Are you sure you don't want the tail of the snake? I'm going to have to take my pants off.
You're terrible.
It's my name. My name means penis. I just want everybody to know that. Get it? Do you get it?
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, God. So Snake does finally, when he has a weapon, which is a baseball bat with giant spikes through it.
Yeah, it's a dangerous bat. You don't want your kids to be playing baseball with this bat.
We finally see him murder somebody. It takes us an hour and 5 minutes for him to kill somebody.
And it's just one big slap on the
he just
noggin.
hits him right in the back of the head.
Uh-huh.
And then the crowd, like in Rocky IV, starts chanting, Snake.
Yeah.
They love it.
Uh-huh.
Now, in the meantime...
Oh, yeah, the brain is working.
The brain is rescuing the president. Now, how this helps him, I don't know. But he decides to rescue the president.
The president is still handcuffed.
I'm free. They were just handkerchiefs. This was so easy.
No, isn't the briefcase still handcuffed to him, or has someone taken? No, it was when he was.
The Duke shot the briefcase,
that's right.
And then
he
creepy little weirdo,
the pup guy,
took the cassette.
The guy from the real world, yeah,
the guy from the real world who made fun of that poor guy for having AIDS, took the cassette tape And Pablo? What was his name? He died. It's sad. But this creepy little weirdo took the cassette tape.
Pedro.
So we know he has
Pedro.
it. Pedro, yes. So this creepy weird guy has the cassette tape, and he's the one guarding the president who's wearing a blonde wig. Why is he wearing a wig?
So random. And this is when he looks annoyed after he's been rescued. He's like, now I have been through a lot. I've lost a finger. Someone's played Russian roulette with me, but now they've put me in a blonde wig, and I'm over this shit because he looks pissed when they finally get him.
What was happening? I want a scene where they put a blonde wig on him and they put lipstick on him and make him kiss a mirror or something. I would love that. They kill the creepy little weirdo who I kind of liked. Like, he was the only guy in this movie who looked like he belonged in this
like
wasteland.
Weird,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I think does the girl kill him? Or is it Harry Dean Stanton? Anyway, whatever. He's killed.
Mm-hmm.
They break the president out.
Mm-hmm.
After the wrestling match, this is a great part. Some dude just runs in and yells, "The president's gone!"
Yeah.
And
the brain took him. Yeah.
Everyone leaves, and then Snake is standing there in the ring and just kind of walks away. Like, I guess I'm free now.
I guess I did it. I like how annoyed, again, throughout this whole mission, the Snake is just kind of annoyed to be participating in it. Mm-hmm. And when he's in the ring, when this giant man comes in, he's like, oh, God, now I got to try to beat up. This is the end for me, for sure. And then even when they're cheering him on, he's like, oh, great. Now I'm like the king of the misfits. And again, now he's like, fuck, now I got to find the president and Brain.
But that's the kind of character, you know who would have been great in this part is somebody like Bruce Campbell.
Oh,
because he would have delivered these quippy little funny lines when this happened. I couldn't tell you a single thing Kurt Russell said through this entire movie.
I know what he says. Call me Snake. He insists people call
me. You mean the first...
That's
pretty
all.
much the first thing he says in this movie. After that is... And at the end, I think he says... Call me
Pliskin. Yeah.
That's it.
He just wants you to know what to call him. He's like, silent but deadly.
That's my name, everybody. I want you to know who I am. All these lunatics in this prison know who I am. I want everybody watching to know.
Yeah.
So they all get to the roof. I have a lot of questions about this. Of the World Trade Center.
Part by stairs and part by elevator. Because aren't they all tired when they get up there?
Where a band of Native American prisoners are destroying the plane, because at one point I think somebody refers to them as a bunch of Injuns, and I was like, what is happening in this movie?
I don't remember that.
It is very quick and very weird, and of course very offensive. And maybe I got that wrong, but I swear that was what was
you
said.
might be accurate. You may be accurate. Well, do they? But they don't. Oh no, they do mess up the plane enough, or the glider rather.
I think the glider is like.
Yeah, they jam it out.
I think it's like attached to the roof
with
like a cable or something, and they cut it so it falls off the roof and is destroyed.
And now, how are we getting anywhere?
Well, the only way to get out of there is the cabbie shows up, which I totally forgot he was in this movie.
I know, but he's back. He's back, and he's got everything. He's got wheels. He's got the tape, right?
Yeah. Snake holds onto the tape or something, right? Or wait.
No, I thought the cabbie has it, because the Snake's
cabbie
like,
had
we
the
need
tape
it, and
the
he's
whole
like,
time.
no, it's right here. He got it.
Yeah.
Because it was on.
And he puts it in, and it's like, I think nuclear warfare is bad. And Snake's like, got it, great.
This is it, yeah.
That was too loud. Got it. Great. Okay. So he then takes the tape and they decide to drive across the bridge that is mined with mines.
What? Oh, it has mines on it. Mined with mines. Gotcha.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Has landmines on it.
And I guess the Brain is yelling out directions from the back, like go left here, go right here, because the bridge is just littered with other cars and cardboard boxes and other nonsense like that. And at one point, the car explodes; it blows in half
completely, right? And
it is severed perfectly, and our lovable cabbie is dead.
I know, he dies right after that blast, right? He's just He doesn't make it. And it is, even the snake is a little sort of like, good one down, because the cabbie was a likable fella.
That weird little pervert who liked watching those men dance around in dresses. He's dead. He saved my life once. He threw fire at a bunch of weird homeless men.
Oh, he did. That's right. It was ready in his back. That's right. In the back, he's like, you never know.
He had a bunch of that insane smile on his face the whole time.
He was totally goofy.
All right.
Oh, man. Oh.
So they're on foot. Oh, they're on foot the whole time. The Duke is chasing them.
Yes. Also
and
on foot? No, in his car.
Matching their moves,
yes.
Right? Because that's what I was thinking. Why isn't he blowing up?
But he was, I guess, following them and doing his best. I think this
is his second car with chandeliers on the hood, too.
Oh, yeah. He's got an entourage of these vehicles or chandeliers that just easily go in any car he needs to drive. Oh, no. This is when Maggie dies. Maggie is her name.
Well, Brain dies first.
Yeah.
Everybody dies within about 5 minutes.
Yeah, all of a sudden everyone's going down. Yeah.
Right. This is when Brain tells them to go left. All of them, not all of them, Maggie and Snake run right. Mm-hmm. Brain says, don't do that. And he runs left and gets blown up. Mm-hmm. And he flies up in the air. And Maggie is devastated.
Mm-hmm. It's hard for her to take it in.
That's right. Yeah, Snake tries to get her to come with him. He's like, come on.
Yeah.
And he knows she's staying. He hands her a gun, which she just shoots wildly at a car that's about 3 miles away.
Well, that's the Duke driving toward her, right? Yeah.
Right.
And then he, runs her over?
He just smashes right into her.
Yeah.
And it is, in a movie that had very little blood or violence.
That's what I'm saying. She's all
death.
The blood you need. It just comes out and you see her laying there in a pool of her stuff.
It's a good dummy shot because you see her shooting this gun and it's a quick cut to a dummy and the car just wallops this dummy.
True. It's true. And we've gotten rid of our other kind of sidekicks to Snake.
Right. I forgot the president was there. So the president's there too.
Oh yeah, he was. That's right. Which I don't
totally
remember
forgot.
him even in the cabbie, but I guess he was in the back. So after all this tumultuousness, the final battle sort of happens between a Snake. So the president gets up the wall. I mean, he's climbing the wall like a Plinko piece or something, right? Just trying to get up there, and he can't quite. And Duke's sort of shooting at him and sort of messing up the pulley that's taking him up, right?
Yeah, it's like they threw a fire hose over the wall, and you just tie it around your waist, and people kind of
But it's really awkward and goofy. The cord even jams.
Right. The president is saved.
Yes.
And then there's a very brief fist fight between Snake and the Duke.
Yeah, you're right. There is.
And then Snake's about to escape, but the Duke is about to shoot him or something. Mm-hmm. Something's about to happen. Mm-hmm. Shoot him? I guess he has a gun.
I think.
Okay. And then the president unloads on the Duke.
Yeah, the president's had enough. He's standing at the top
of the wall, and he's yelling and screaming and whooping it up.
He loses it. He was Mr. Calm, briefcase holder.
Yeah, and he's yelling stuff like, you're a number one best guy, huh? And I'm like, what is...
He totally flips his lid.
Is this because he put a wig on you?
They pushed him a little too hard. They rode him a little too heavy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Snake is saved, and at the very last second, his neck blow up device is counting down 3, 2, 1, and then the nerdy scientist comes over and
zaps it.
And he is saved. And like you said, Hawk says, "Are you gonna kill me now?" And he says, "It's just too tired."
I love that. It was a long night. I know I threatened to kill you because you made me miserable and you put the cyanide in my neck and threatened my life. But right now I just need a good nap.
But the thing we forgot to mention at the beginning was what the deal was. But now he is free. Mm-hmm. He's a free man. That's right. He saved the president. The end. But one other thing that we skipped over was the president. He has to go on TV.
Oh, that's right. He's
being shaved by 2 men at one time, which is weird. Snake comes up to him and says something like, "A lot of people died to save you. What do you think about that?" Which is weird.
Well, he comes in and he's got limited time, but he wants to ask him the one question. And This is the
Right.
one question.
And he's like, and the president says something which, now I'm not saying that the president is a good guy or somebody that we should be in, I don't know his politics.
Yeah,
but
you haven't seen.
But he says something very generic, which is, I wish I could have thanked them for what they did or something like that.
Right.
So Snake hands him the cassette tape, and then Snake walks away, and then the president gets on, and he's like, I have to say this to everybody, which is weird. Why does he have to play a tape? Why can't he just like address the audience or the summit or whatever's happening?
This was a key. Whatever was on this tape was going to be just this amazing kind of mind-blowing.
It was going to create peace across the world, which, first of all, come on, Snake. Now you just started World War IV by doing this.
Well, because it's not, P.S.
Nope, it's not the nonsense about nuclear warheads.
No.
It is Cabby's big band music
Yep.
that he loved to listen to in his stupid cab.
Just some happy little doop da 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 doo.
And the president looks surprised.
Yeah.
Maybe Snake smiles. I don't remember. And
then Snake rips up the other tape. Snake has the other tape, and as he's walking away exhausted, he's ripping it out. And we get to see, hey, in the end, it was Snake that kind of won the day, even though, you thought he was doing the fight.
I mean, he's a free man. He's probably on his way to Canada now.
He's
I assume
going.
Canada's still ship shape.
Sure.
In 1997.
Yeah. They're doing their thing.
Gonna go tell them about that eye patch or whatever. Why can't he tell us what happened with the eye patch? It's probably something lame like, I was at my sister's house. She's got these little kids, these nephews, and we were getting rambunctious. Like, little kids, they don't trim their fingernails. I thought it was just a scratched cornea, but I couldn't. I want to know why he has an eye patch. I want to know so much more about this character.
Oh my god.
All right, okay. So, Jamie, this movie.
Oh.
What did you think of this movie?
First of all, what I think is that your that impersonation right there is amazing.
Okay.
I want you to read recipes for me. Mix it in two. I can't even do it. It's fabulous. If you had an answering machine, I would make you leave that voice as your message.
Well, I mean, all cell phones now have
voicemail. Yeah, I can
easily do that.
Mine is just the person at this number is not available.
Oh, really? You don't even have? Oh, okay.
Maybe I'll have you leave mine using the
I'll do that. Yeah,
I think that'll be great. I'm going to put in my request for that.
Okay. If you can't get Kurt Russell to do it, I'll do it. I'll be the back.
Okay, I appreciate that. Like the understudy, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, I do enjoy a Kurt Russell. I mean, he's not as exciting as a Tom Selleck for Eye Candy, but he does sort of wet the palate some, I suppose.
Right.
And he's very handsome in this movie, although I don't think it's his finest work. I mean, it has a really big cult following, this movie.
It really does.
And people really do like it, so I think I was sort of appreciative of it. It was okay for me. I didn't hate it.
But you probably wouldn't recommend people see it, is what you're saying.
It depended on,
maybe
I guess,
if you're a
who.
big Kurt Russell fan,
Yeah.
or a John Carpenter completionist.
Right. How about yourself?
No, I didn't like it at all.
At all? Not at all.
No, it was so boring. It was so boring. There is one scene in this movie early on. I think it's when Kurt Russell, like you said, he's exhausted from walking down the World Trade Center. He walks onto the street and sits in a chair. He just
that's right. He does.
He's rescuing the president and he sits down in a chair just to relax. And I was like, is this so meta that he is doing what this movie's doing for the most part, which is just hanging around? Because the action scenes were not exciting.
No, they were barely. And you're right. I think it was sort of a misuse of like a little more Isaac Hayes, perhaps, or a little more tension between
any character development. I think would have been appreciated. I didn't know, why is Cabby there?
Yeah.
I assume he probably is a cannibal, but I don't know why he's here.
Yeah, but maybe he was
why.
even part of like the bank thing. Maybe he was the getaway car.
Right.
And so that all makes
Yes.
even more sense.
Yes.
And it ties things together a little nicer for you. Do you have a recommendation then? Do you want to stay in New York? Do you
no,
want to watch a Woody Allen movie instead?
All right. My recommendation is so loosely related to this, it probably shouldn't even count as a recommendation.
All right.
Now, first of all, a lot of times, if I can, I like to recommend movies that not many people have seen.
Yeah, you're good at that.
With this one, I'm going to recommend a movie that a ton of people have seen.
Tell us about it.
Because this movie, Escape from New York, I don't think it understood what it wanted to be. Like, it wasn't serious enough. It wasn't tongue-in-cheek enough. And I thought, a lot of times during this movie, that I would much rather be watching Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, yeah, this did sort of
because that movie is so
badass.
People talk about that movie and they talk about, like, the practical effects of it.
Right.
And just the scope of it. And they don't talk about just how batshit crazy that movie is.
Yeah.
Like, everybody in that movie looks like a deformed monster. And in this movie, it kind of looked like I said, guys were just wearing garbage cans.
Well, it was so dark, too. It was so dark.
It was so dark. There was no makeup. They just
Right.
kind of looked like they dressed these guys in clothes that they just put in a puddle for a little bit. And they're like, ooh, this looks distressed.
This is
and
ghoulish,
terrible.
right, yeah.
Right. And in Fury Road, like, you have these deformed mutants screaming at each other with these crazy Australian accents, and it's just
crazy.
It's amazing, and everybody's seen it, but it's what I wanted this movie to be like. I wanted this movie to either be, I wanted it to be more insane. Like, I wanted him to run through the streets and just have to shoot these prisoners because they're trying to
really eat him or something.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
It does feel like it should, especially with the word escape. Like,
yeah. It's not a great recommendation, but that's my recommendation.
Okay. It's such a great recommendation.
Right. It's a great movie, but yeah.
So I have a recommendation, then I have a recast. Because after I think it was last podcast, I like to say, like, oh, but if these actors were in this, perhaps we'd look at it differently.
What do you think about Mark Ruffalo helping those Native Americans recently?
I know.
Amazing.
I watched him on the news. He is so passionate about it, and that's what you have to love about it.
I know.
He really wants to help.
I love Mark Ruffalo. He's so great.
I know. He's really kind of great.
He doesn't get enough. I don't know. He gets good work, I guess.
You kind of want him to be. I mean, he would just be my umbrella. Like, put him in Escape from New York. But I didn't. That was too easy, so I didn't go for Mark Ruffalo. No, I went. Well, probably just as easy. I went for a little Matt Damon as the Snake. Just because I think that tattoo would look unique on him. And I didn't cast much further. I went for a little Steve Buscemi as the Brain. I thought that would be fun, right?
That makes total sense.
Yeah. And I would go for a Dave Chappelle as our Isaac Hayes character, as the Duke.
Oh, I was like, as our cabbie? I could see him as the cabbie, too.
Oh, yeah, I could see him as the cabbie, too. I could.
Wait, Dave Chappelle as the Duke?
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't like that as much. You want him. We could put him as the cabbie.
His build
wiry.
Is not
You want
Duke
someone.
build.
You're right. You know who we want as the Duke? John Goodman. He would be a good Duke.
Oh, he'd be a great Duke.
Because the Duke, like you said, he really didn't fight a lot. He was just intimidating because he was the Duke.
Yeah.
So, and
Dave Chappelle should be the cabbie.
Yeah, I agree.
Dave Chappelle, if he died and blew up, I'd feel kind of sad.
Yeah, me
Dave
too.
Chappelle
And he was the
dead.
saddest death in there. I'm with you. As far as a chick, I couldn't.
Julianne Moore. Let's just say.
All right, we can do that. She's really flat chested though. You need somebody a little bustier.
Oh, all right.
If you were going for figure, maybe
all
Liv Tyler.
Selma Hayek.
I don't know.
Selma
Okay,
Hayek.
perfect.
Perfect. Done.
There you go. All right, so there's your recast of this movie. If you played that out, perhaps you would have enjoyed it more. And let's add the bank scene. And my recommendation, however, is do you know the Louis C.K. movie Pootie Tang?
I do, and I love how you refer to it as the Louis C.K. movie.
I know, that's how I like to refer to it.
Not many people would say that, but yeah.
Because when I watched it for the first time, and I loved it.
Wait, why are you recommending this movie?
Because I love it. I do. I love Pootie Tang.
Okay. No. I mean, what relationship does it have to this?
Just because it's a movie I like and I want to recommend people see it.
Okay,
No.
all right.
No, because like Snake, Pootie Tang is sort of a hero of the ghetto.
Okay.
People know of him. Like the magical timepiece, sort of magical timepiece that the snake has, Pootie Tang has a magical belt. And there are bad guys that he has to fight. He fights sort of the man, just like the snake is sort of fighting the man.
Okay,
so,
you're bringing me around on this. I like this now. Yeah.
So enjoy that movie instead of Escape from New York. Yeah.
What do we do now? Do we just talk about the next movie we're going to watch?
No, we could keep talking about Pootie Tang if you want to.
We could. I haven't seen it in so long. I should really watch it again. I'm going to take your recommendation.
Yes.
And I'm going to watch the movie again.
It's so good.
I think I did once take your recommendation and I watched what's that vampire movie? That comedic vampire movie?
Oh, yeah. I can't think of it. I was going to say These Walls Could Talk, but that is not it.
What is that? Is that about lesbians? Is it?
I think
no.
it is.
I think it's like a lesbian HBO series or something like that.
Yes, it's the one with Jermaine, and I can't think of the name of it right now.
If these walls could talk with vampires. I think it's What We Do in the Shadows, right?
Yes, there you go.
Okay, yes. Yeah, I did take your recommendation that time. I was so excited.
And it was a good one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't worry, I won't steer you wrong.
So for our next movie, we're kind of staying with the presidential theme, but not really.
Uh-huh.
When we record our next episode, 30 years ago on that day, this requires a ridiculous amount of research, President Reagan made it. He finally he put forth the death penalty for drug traffickers.
Oh.
So that really just gives us an excuse to watch a drug movie. So we're going to watch the Robert Downey Jr. drug movie.
Oh, it's been too
Less
long.
Than Zero.
Yes
with
to
Robert
less.
Downey Jr. and I think James Spader. I think we get some Andrew McCarthy, some Jamie Gertz.
I love a Jamie Gertz. She's adorable.
Yeah. She is.
And a little Robert Downey. This is going to be good. This is going to be really good.
It should be good. I don't know if the movie's going to be good, but I assume watching it will be wildly entertaining.
Exactly.
Just to assume that cameramen just probably follow Robert Downey Jr. around on a weekend, and we're like, we can make a movie out of this.
This could make a reality TV before reality TV was a thing. Right. Yeah, I love it.
So that will be in 2 weeks.
Yes. Less Than Zero.
And that's it. That's all we got, right?
That's what we have to say. Yeah, that's all.
All right. Okay.
All right.
We'll see everybody.
Thanks for being around. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening. You can always thank people, you know. It's polite.
Are you talking to me? I'm sorry. Thank you, everybody. Was I rude there? Just ending it? Oh, and Jamie, for one episode we did such a great job of telling people where to find us at the end, and then we totally forgot about it and just stopped doing it. So find us on Facebook, Good Times Great Movies. Right. Follow us on Twitter at GTGMcast, and I think that's all we have right now.
Are we on MySpace? Are we on MySpace?
We're on MySpace.
Okay, good.
Our MySpace friend is Tom. That's the only friend we have.
All right.
So everybody had Tom. What a nice gimmick that was. We're not on MySpace.
We're not. I don't think MySpace. I think it's. I don't know.
I'll bet it still exists. I'll bet you can still find it. Don't look for it.
No. I think maybe it carries a virus now.
Okay. That's it. I think we should stop this podcast.
We've gone on for way too long now. All right.
I mean, we've only done this for an hour and a half. We've talked for over 2 hours.
Can you end it with a snake, though? Can you end it with an imitation of snake? Can you?
I don't know what I'm going to say. Maybe I could talk about my eyes some more, my tattoo. I don't know. So, I tell people I got shot in the eye with an arrow, when really I was just scratched by a little kid. So I have to wear this eye patch so that people don't see. Because if it was really an arrow, I wouldn't have an eye, but I do.
Like you're catching breath. Oh, that's perfect. Oh,
It looks totally normal under here. But I just wear the eye. It's just for show. All right, that's it.
All right,
Goodbye,
good night.
everybody. That's the weirdest ending ever.
It was perfect.